Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 3 of No Hard Feelings. Hope everybody has been enjoying this series so far. It's been a blast to record it, and I'm glad I can bring it to you, especially during this very stressful time in the world. If you're like me, a good book can really help in times of trouble, so I hope you're enjoying it. If you'd like your own copy of No Hard Feelings so you can follow along with the recording, it's available at MichaelSantosAuthor.com. And if you like this video and other videos on my channel, like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so you get notifications every time I upload another episode. And without further ado, here's Chapter 3. The morning after the Purgatory fire, Isiah Jackson rolled up to his other club, Dante's, in his orange Lincoln town car. It was northeast of Uptown, off North Tryon Street, which you could take right into the city center. Then go south on Providence, or Randolph, to get you to the wealthy neighborhoods, places like Dilworth and Myers Park, full of mansions, lots of them with red brick and black shutters, the traditional Charlotte look. Then there was South Park. Isiah had been spending more time there lately. Spending money. The area had an upscale mall. You could go in and buy expensive foreign suits and Rolexes, and even go to a Porsche design store. Isiah had thought they only made cars. Then one day he went in and dropped $650 on a pair of shoes made of the same leather they put in the 911s. Bright orange to match his Lincoln. He was wearing them now, along with his slim black suit, black vest, and orange-tinted sunglasses. He liked having a standout style and the money to afford it. Made him feel good. Same reason he spelled his last name with an X. Only he wasn't feeling so good today after hearing Purgatory had been torched. He found Jack Vignali, his business partner, sitting at the bar and already putting them down. The man must have had a stomach of steel, tossing back shots like they were water. The man glancing up at him now over the rim of his glass. Vignali was a big dude, kind of body could handle his liquor. He had a gray streak down the middle of his hair. Made the man look like a skunk. Give him until the end of the day, let him put down another 10 or 12 drinks and really lose himself. The man would start smelling like one too. Seemed like some days Vignali forgot to shower, maybe too hungover in the morning to remember basic hygiene. But he brought in money running their local sports book. Enough cash to buy a lot of Porsche shoes, man, so why not let him do what he wanted? Isiah said, "Tell me what happened at the club. You were there, right?" Vignali pushed his glass aside and turned around on his bar stool. "Yeah, sure, I was there." "So what did you see?" "Nothing. I only heard it. Some gunshots going off. Barely heard them over the music, but believe me, I know that sound." "You see the fool who burned my club?" "You kidding? It was chaos. Lot of people moving at once, huh? Screaming, running for the exits. Then the dance floor started filling up with smoke. I never seen a place empty out that fast. I got out of there too. I wasn't going to stick around to see the person did it." "Police been by yet?" "What is it now, 11:30? Yeah, they came by earlier this morning. I don't know, 9 o'clock, sitting out there like they was waiting for us." Isiah grinned. "They were, Jack. They're after us. This fire, I expect they'll be all over it. Using it as an excuse to dig into our affairs. Know what I'm saying? Thinking we got something good going on in these clubs." "They're thinking right," Vignali said, pouring more whiskey into his glass. "Last night, before it went to hell, I was talking to guys about the week's lines. It was a busy night for that. Something I've learned about this state, you people go nuts for college sports. I mean, everyone knows how big basketball is here, but I didn't fully understand that till I moved down. It's all anybody talks about. Just wait for March to come back around. People gonna be fighting to place wagers on the ball games. Oh, and I met guys wanted to bet on the stock car races coming up. They got playoffs in about a month. I don't understand it, having playoffs in a motorsport. Idiots going in circles, man. The white folk in this city love it. You drive down East MLK, take it through Uptown, you'll find the NASCAR Hall of Fame, like a temple for rednecks. All these old cars in the windows. Now I can get behind that. I'm a car guy myself. Why I bought Classic with my Lincoln. But racing? Only thing I like about it is all that money. How much we set to make off those wagers." Vignali taking another drink now and smiling. "I heard amounts anywhere from $500 to 10 dimes on certain drivers, the ones with multiple wins this season. So I was getting all these new bettors signed up. $1 online credit to each one so they could get started right on their phones, not just talk to me about it all night. It was going great, till that fire interrupted me. Isiah frowned. We gotta move all that business over here now, that's all. But listen, the police will be back. Gonna ask us more questions. Y'all answer anything this morning? I did the typical interview. Yes, I was there. No, I didn't see nothing. Gee, I can't believe somebody would do such a terrible thing as burn a nightclub, a place of fun. Yeah, I like that. Got a feeling you have experience bullcrapping cops, huh? Sure, it's what I'm best at. I'd always have to do it up in New York. Isiah hadn't been open to working with Jack right away. This New Yorker, an outsider, coming into the Charlotte scene a year and a half ago, saying he was a made man. Like that meant anything to the guys Isiah rolled with. Matter of fact, Jack's mouth had nearly got him killed. Here came this made man talking himself up, saying he was looking to start his own thing in the Queen City. Wasn't into drugs, though he said he didn't have a problem with it. Isiah couldn't believe that, Jack saying he didn't have a problem with drugs. Like anybody in this scene cared what some outsider had a problem with. The man's ego as messed up as his liver. Isiah had been a Hidden Valley king before CMPD hit them hard about 10 years ago. He'd been lucky not to take a fall with his friends. Went out on his own after that and started a small crew. Made his money managing dealers who pushed crack cocaine mostly, and that was profitable. Take single grams of coke, cook and cut it into rocks, and sell it, and then clean the money through his clubs. But then he met Jack, decided to partner up, and got into the sports gambling racket with this made guy. Assigned some of his crew to collect bettors' payments, and started banking all those profits on top of what his dealers brought in. Problem now, though, they only had the one club left. Isiah said, "Here's the thing, Jack. Take a look around. We got a nice place here, don't we? Decorated like a lounge. Not a gentleman's establishment or a strip joint, man. Much classier than all that. A dining room, tables and booths, mahogany paneling on the walls, vintage southern speakeasy vibe. Got a stage for live music, a bandstand, red curtains and everything. A stocked bar you're always enjoying. This club, man, is set to be a slick little place if we keep it up. Now, I had plans to renovate Purgatory and make it better. Expand it a little, bring more people in. But those plans changed last night when some punk decided to burn us. I want to know who, and I want to know why." Think maybe they were after me? I mean, I was the highest profile person in the club last night. There was that ego again. Although Isiah imagined there were plenty of guys who wouldn't mind taking a shot at McNally if they ever got the chance. Jack needed to be careful. That big head of his would make an easy target. "They might have been, Jack," Isiah said, humoring him. "What else could you do with the man?" "So I want you to find the person who did this, and I want them dealt with by the time I get back." "Where are you going?" "Lake Norman for the weekend. See a girl I got there, Tanya. I set her and her son Jamie up in a house near the water. Got them out of the projects. What happened was her AC quit, and she asked me for help getting it fixed. See, I had some pull with the building manager. She takes bribes from people before she does anything for them. But I asked her real nice, and she helped my girl out for free. That's how me and Tanya got to know each other. Then her plumbing got messed up 2 months later, and I decided to fix all her housing problems, for the sake of her son at first. Then I found out she and I had something going on." "Thought you was with a white girl in South End." "Oh, that was Sheila. I had another girl on the west side, too. Used to be an exotic dancer. But Tanya's different, man. I ended things with the other two, and now I'm just going with her. And Jamie's a good kid. 13 years old, boy already throws a tight spiral. Not a bad arm either. Future quarterback. I'm calling it now. And every time I go for a visit, you should see the look on his face when I get there. And when I leave, he's always asking, when will I be back? I'm thinking I need to be there more often. Never had that before. Somebody anxious for me to come by." Vignali shook his head. The man pursing his lips now and looking all judgmental. The same expression he always had when he talked about being made. Like he was better, and knew better, because he was in the mafia before this, like it was the Ivy League of crime. What Isiah wanted to ask, then why the hell you leave New York if you had it so good? But he'd never said anything. He got the feeling Vignali had been forced to leave, exiled or something. Maybe he'd screwed up bad, slept with the Don's daughter, and had to either get out of town or get popped. Vignali poured another glass of whiskey, saying, "Up in New York, I had a personal rule. Only 2 girls at a time. Easier to make sure they never met. You had your wife or your girlfriend and only one other woman on the side. You would take your wife out on Friday night to a certain club, you and your associates with their wives. You talk business together, then everybody walks away happy. The next night, you take your girl to a different club across town, so there's no chance your wife will ever run into the other woman. And that's why you only see 2 at a time, to keep things simple. It's just not gentlemanly to let them find out about each other." "And you're a real gentleman, huh?" "When I gotta be, but I try not to make it a habit." "Now that you're here in Charlotte," Isiah said, hiking an eyebrow, "maybe you ought to think about expanding, man. Just not with the new singer I hired. You'll see her up on stage in about an hour, rehearsing for her first show tonight." "She's the kind of girl I'd like, huh?" "Kind of girl anybody'd like. Keep watching the stage, you won't miss her. I've seen her sing at some of the other clubs in town, and she's good. Eve Bennett's her name. Has a following already, guys who will turn up to see her perform, and then we can sell to them or get them gambling. I was planning on talking to you about this today anyway, before this arson happened. So listen, my club staff is off limits, Jack. That's my rule, right? It's bad for business if management's hitting the entertainment, you know what I'm saying? And we got enough trouble after last night. Have some fun, man, but not too much." Isiah's smirking now, not able to help himself. "Meantime, you want to show me how y'all Italians work? Find me the firebug. I know y'all love revenge, always getting back at each other over something, and I want to get this guy. Then you can have all the fun you want." "Sure, I'll find him. Don't worry about it. But all the same, I think I'll stick to how I used to have fun up in New York." Up in New York. The man always saying that, still not realizing he wasn't there no more. Man, who needed the new singer? Put Jack on stage, let him do this comedy routine for the dealers, and for all of Isiah's people who came in for a good time. Sell tickets like it was the circus. Come see the incredible made man. Jack starts talking about how things were up in New York. All the Queen City boys would look at him like he was a sideshow attraction. Isiah gave a deep, wheezing laugh from the back of his throat. "Man, they say people live better in the South. I guess it's true. But don't worry, baby, you're with Isiah Jackson now, and I'll show you how we do it down here." An hour later, Vignali was sitting at a lounge table right in front of the stage, still sipping on whiskey and watching Isiah's new singer run through the music for her show, singing and playing a shiny black grand piano. Pop hits from the radio arranged in the style of classic cocktail music, some oldies too. She had straight raven black hair, creamy skin, and violet eyes. And a good figure, her blue tank top and tight jeans showed off. Who did she remind him of? Elizabeth Taylor, that was it. He used to watch Elizabeth Taylor movies as a kid in Bensonhurst, up in New York. This singer's face was rounder, a little fuller, but Vignali liked that, and there was a close enough resemblance anyway. Elizabeth Taylor had been his first celebrity crush. Isiah was nuts for having that rule about the club staff. Still, he wasn't going to make the mistake of pissing the guy off. Jack had come to Charlotte for one reason: money. And Isiah was an asset, somebody who could connect him to the local underworld. And Jack needed money. He still owed some people back home. Loans he'd taken out, the kind he didn't want to get killed over. Coming south had bought him some extra time to pay off his debts. Down here, he could run his business without having to kick up to a boss. Or, he hoped, drawing too much attention from the feds. And Charlotte was a good criminal market. Thinking about it now, he had to wonder why the family had never looked at this town, and not just for the sports gambling, which was still illegal in North Carolina. There was construction always going on here, perfect for the kind of labor racketeering the mob was so good at. A big healthcare industry, too, which was good for insurance fraud. It seemed to Jack like the perfect place to hide out and make the cash he needed. And this new singer gave him one more reason to stay. Look at her on stage, moving her body to the music, knowing how to get a crowd of guys like him going. He liked her almost as much as the money she'd bring in. "You ever look at me like that, like a piece of meat, and I'll shoot you." He twisted around in his chair. Jessie Carmichael took the seat opposite his and crossed her arms. She wore a black t-shirt, gray sweatpants, and a Charlotte Hornets cap covering her bright red hair. Casual and nondescript, like she wanted to make sure no one here would recognize her as an off-duty cop. "You wouldn't shoot me," he said, "not with what I'm paying you." "And how much are you paying her?" "I'm not. Isiah's the one hired her." Carmichael raised her eyebrows. "Did he check her out first? Make sure she won't turn snitch if a better offer comes along?" "You'd have to ask him that. I'm asking you." Vignali shrugged. "It's Isiah's club, too. It was his before I moved here. He hires somebody, that's his choice, just like it's my choice to pay you." "I wouldn't be so quick to trust his judgment. He strikes me as a man who's liable to fall for any pretty face. I trust you know what you're doing. But not Isiah and his boys, the crackheads. They'll always talk to get out of jail time, and if they see me coming around here and figure out who I am..." He took another sip of booze and then said, "He keeps them in line." "Does he now?" Vignali smiled. Carmichael had a point about Isiah. Up in New York, Vignali used to worry about guys, the lowest foot soldiers on his crew, talking to the cops, trying to make deals with the DA's office to reduce their sentences. A lot of times it would end with Vignali going to the boss and asking, could he put a contract out on the snitch? It was always the low-level punks you had to watch, and Isiah's crew was full of them. "What do you want me to say, huh?" "Nothing, Jack, but I want you to remember, if one of Isiah's guys snitches, you could go down. And I'm in this with you now. I just don't know why you ever fell in with him." "Because he's a hustler, like me. He's always worried whether something's bad for business. He's a man all about his bottom line. And I respect him for that. I tell you what, I used to see made guys, they didn't have that kind of work ethic." Carmichael frowned. "I still say you're better off without him. With all your experience, you don't need him." "What I need," Vignali said, "is to know what CMPD's doing about purgatory, and whether you got a suspect." Carmichael narrowed her eyes. "You're fixing to go after the arsonist yourself." "Sure, wouldn't you?" "I'd wait for the police to handle it, instead of killing him and giving CMPD more reason to lean on me. Nothing like a couple homicides to get our attention. But let me guess, this is Isiah's idea, isn't it?" Vignali nodded. He liked this woman. He wouldn't mind starting something with her, expanding, as Isiah had put it. Except he believed her when she said she'd shoot him. Carmichael pulled a slip of paper from her pocket and pushed it across the table. She said, "No name, but somebody in the neighborhood gave us a description." He read it and knew right away who it was. "I got a name for you. Guy's Paul Byrne. Calls himself the Apostle." "You've met him?" "Sure, he's like me, also an immigrant from New York. Did some contract killings I knew about, and he's been known to do other stuff too, a one-stop shop kind of guy. Though I don't know if he's been a firebug before. But he's good, a real prodigy. CMPD'll have a hell of a time bringing him in. Jesse, I want you to stay close to the investigation. I want to have a sit-down with Paul Byrne. You find him for me, before your police friends get to him." "Won't be a problem." "And you let me worry about Isiah and the rest, huh?" "You've got a good bit of worrying to do, Jack. Here's what I see. Isiah's club gets torched, and he asks you to get the guy who did it. Is that right? So let's say you go through with it. Isiah gets his revenge, but CMPD's going to notice when their suspect turns up dead, and you'll get the heat for it, not Isiah." The music ended as the singer finished her rehearsal. Vignali saw her looking down at their table. He wanted to clap for her. The whiskey, 5 glasses of it, had kicked in, and he was in a good mood now, enjoying going back and forth with Carmichael while Elizabeth Taylor sang to him up on stage. Carmichael didn't speak again until the singer had gone into the wings, making sure she was out of earshot. Then she said, "I think Isiah's working it out, so you take the fall. And you don't even need him. Why put yourself at risk, and me, for some punk who's just using you?" Vignali stared into his glass, thinking about that. Thinking how he liked the rules up in New York better than Isiah's. He wanted to go back to how it had been, with the family, when he'd had the power in his local scene. He said, "Isiah's been my ticket into this city. Without him, you expect anybody here would deal with an outsider like me? Not a chance." I'm dealing with you, Jack, and lucky you, I'm your ticket into the police force. Not even Isiah has that. And that was Chapter 3 of No Hard Feelings. Hope you enjoyed it, and again, if you'd like your own copy, you can go to MichaelSantosAuthor.com. Coming up in Episode 4, we'll see what the Apostle is up to now that the arson has been completed and botched, and we'll meet his girlfriend. And you won't believe who she is. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you know when Episode 4 is uploaded. See you next time.